Today's adventure takes us into the wonderful world of bench seating for vans. I know, fascinating, right? Well, some people would say yes, it is actually quite fascinating. So we not only cover the L-shaped sofa in the living room, but we also have a pass-through from the living space to the driving space. We created a bench that would bridge those two areas, making it easy-ish for us to get back and forth, as well as a nice place for the dogs to be. So one of the things I've been wanting for a long time is to deal with the space between the seats up front. So fill it somehow. So different people solve this challenge in different ways. And a Govana, for instance, has an inflatable system. There's one inflatable that fills the gap and another inflatable that goes across that, as well as the two seats to form a small bed. That works out really well for her dog when she travels. Other folks would put a cooler in there, and you know what? We have a cooler, and I thought about putting our cooler there. In fact, I did put the cooler there and tested that out for a few days, and that just didn't work out for a number of reasons. One is the stability of the cooler on the platform that I created, which I could have done a better job on, sure. But I just didn't trust the stability of that cooler with a cushion on it for us passing back and forth, as well as for the dogs being on there during travel. The other thing was it was too tall. So putting a cushion on it, even a 2-inch cushion, made it so high that if a dog were on it standing, I couldn't see clearly to the side mirror, and that's a safety issue. So nixed that idea, came up with this one. All right, enough talking about it. Are you ready to see it? Come on inside. The design is pretty simple, and I only had a couple requirements. One is that the level would be the same as the L-shaped sofa here going into the cabin area. So I didn't want to have a step up or step down for this little section here. And to accomplish that, I made a pretty simple rectangle here that I connected to the floor as well as to this part of the sofa here. Next, I built this out of scrap lumber I had laying around and then painted it. The idea is that it will Velcro down to the floor in approximately this location here. And then we will have this piece that will bridge between the rectangle I built and then that scrap wood. This will go here. This goes back in place here. And then you have a pretty level pad going all the way through into the cabin area. So this is obviously not the cushion that will perform this function. This is the one that goes across here. But to give you an idea, it's going to be something like this. Here's a closer look at that rectangular structure I built to fit in right here behind the seats. This is a piece from the old bed frame that I recycled. That's where the drive shaft went through. And I want to be clear that this piece is not secured into the metal this way, because right behind here is quite literally the fuel tank, and I did not want to drill into that. So this is just sitting in place. It does have some felt behind it between these two pieces of metal, so it doesn't make any noise. The connections are here, drilling into the floor, as well as connected up to the bench here, and here. This is another piece of recycled bed frame. It's a 3-inch profile, and so 1 inch is connected up into here, and then 2 inches stick out to make that nice ledge. I also had to put a 45-degree angle on both sides in order to get the seats to be able to come all the way back. So even though these pieces like this will be screwed down into the metal, you see that I put felt on everything just to prevent any amount of squeaking or noise that may occur later down the road. I put about a 10-degree angle on these feet, and also noticed that the one that goes on the driver's side is slightly taller, so I did have to add some height to that one. It's not perfectly level front to back or side to side, but it's pretty darn close, and it's absolutely close enough. One of the things I wanted to ensure is that when this comes out, everything is accessible. So I have access to the fuel tank here very easily, and this is not sitting on the WeatherTech floor mat, so that comes out easily. So I have easy access to the battery bank, which is over there. And this is also a Velcro down, so I could remove this completely. If for some reason during my daily driver use, I wanted to remove this and have the ability to go in and out easier, then that makes it a little bit easier to turn around and then get out through here. Now the fabric's temporary. I had it left over from season 1, the budget build. So I just repurposed that fabric there. Put some Velcro on the bottom, put them in place. And then I've got the cushion for the L-shaped sofa back in. And this is how it looks. While Maisel was a little apprehensive at first, I think she got used to it well enough. And it's just tall enough so they could see out the front window if they wanted to. And just low enough so they're not going to be in our way too much. I'm putting some finishing touches on the bench before I put the back on again. And a couple things to note here. I intentionally pulled the back of the bench in towards the interior of the van just because I didn't want anyone leaning up against the window or the blinds of the window. So pulling that in meant that there was going to be a void here. And I thought, well, I'll just fill that with insulation. Who doesn't want more insulation? And then I thought, hey, that could actually be a pretty convenient place for storage. So what I ended up doing was making these different widths on purpose so it would fit different devices, maybe a larger laptop here, Chromebook or iPad type of thing here, you know, something smaller here, something narrow here, something shallow here. So the first layer here is that really thin Landau foam. It's a closed cell foam that adds some cushion, and then I put the Marathon fabric over top of that. I didn't want to put it over top of the connection points for the back, although I could have done that. That wouldn't have been a big deal. It just made installation of going, you know, in and out with a larger piece. That would have been a little more challenging. So I just did it in sections. I also put a piece of the Marathon fabric up underneath the windowsill here. And then on the bottom, I took some of that XPS foam left over from the floor and cut it up into pieces, wrapped it with the Marathon fabric, and I was able to put that in here. Because there wasn't really much in terms of a ledge down here that was reliable. So I thought having that little extra cushion and a little extra protection in there would be smart. Okay. I also left a few little sections like this open. So if I wanted to put a cord from the cab area up through here and potentially charge a laptop while we're driving, that's something that I thought, well, maybe we would want to do that. So I left the ability to do that here, as well as is here for a smaller device, just in case. Right, and then on the back side of this part of the bench back, I covered the entire thing in the closed cell foam first to give a little cushion and the Marathon fabric. It made sense to just do this all in one large piece, made installation a lot easier. So this will go like this. Okay, that's situated. So the seat back cushion will come to close to the top. So you do still see that Marathon fabric on the very top, and you won't see anything below here. This does create a really nice little pocket that goes right down in here. Let me bring you in for a closer look. When I put the back panel in place up against here and look down in there, you can see down at the bottom. Now there's a gap where you can see the bench seat at the bottom. That won't be there. I just have to tighten up the bottom so that gap will be gone. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach this with normal wood screws to go through here and into those blocks. It may or may not go into the wood beyond the blocks. I don't think I really care. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to glue this on. So to prevent squeaks, I do have felt on all of the wood blocks. So that prevents the squeaking and it'll hold it nice and tight. But also I'm not gluing it because it's possible I'll lose something down in there, or for some reason have to take this off to get who knows what, maybe something spilled, lost something, I don't know, but this can't be permanent. So I'll go ahead and get that attached now. Okay, we're all put back together and I'm going to do a test fit with this laptop. See how it goes. It's pretty good, actually. Let's see if I can get it out. Yeah, getting it out's a little less easy. Okay, now might be a good time to bring you on inside and give you a full tour of the entire bench area. There's more to it than what you've seen so far, so come on in. So one of the first things you might notice is the EcoFlow battery system is now located here. These two batteries used to be located on this side over here underneath this cabinet. The strategy I had of balancing the weight better with some batteries on this side and some batteries and components on this side, that didn't work out. So plan B is to move everything here as we did. This is the distribution panel, so basically the fuse box with all the fuses are in there, and the hub is back over here. Now I have 3 batteries in the system. One battery actually sits behind the distribution panel back in here. But how do I get access to those? And as you can see, if I had any issues with these batteries, they can pull out here, but it's not really easy to grab on to something here and pull this out. They weigh close to 90 pounds each. So to make things easier on myself, I did put this on a hinge. So if I need to access anything under here, I do need to remove the cushions. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it's going to go. Hopefully I don't have to do this often. And this is on a piano hinge here, as well as another compartment on that side. So we can just lift it up. Now I can access the batteries, I can unplug the cables, I can undo the straps that are holding them secure, and I can actually get in there and get more leverage to remove them if need be. And this section is the 3rd battery tucked back in there, and all the wiring coming in the back of the distribution panel. So easy access here in case I need to do more wiring, troubleshooting, or replacing that battery. As far as putting panels on the benches, we'll probably put one here, although that's a low priority, so it's going to be some time before I get that done. Or I might just leave it open. As it is right now, if I had something that was, say, 6 feet long, give or take, and was otherwise this shape or size, or smaller, I could quite literally take it from the outside and just shove it all the way through, and that will work fine. So maybe if I do put a panel here, make it removable, or potentially even a door, I don't know, we'll think about it, maybe next year. As far as the other bench goes, I will have panels in front of the batteries as well as the power distribution panel. And for the hub, I will have a door because I get at that hub often. You can't turn that hub on remotely. You literally have to push the button to turn it on, and sometimes you have to push the button and hold it to turn it off. Also, if anything is connected, such as shore power or solar, it won't turn off, period. Just another one of those nice little features you have to work with. So back up in there, I have a solar shutoff switch. So if I do want to shut the system down completely, I have to turn the solar off using that cutoff and then push the button and hold it until it shuts down. And in order to clear the happy jack, I did have to do a cutout here on the side. So you see that passes right through there now, closes easily. And I cut out a notch right here for the Lagoon table mount. The storage area in this back far corner can be accessed either by going through here, or it can be accessed this way. These will remain open. I'm not going to put any door fronts on them. We also have a decent amount of storage under here. So this will all remain open and be a pass-through. Normally when we're traveling, when we come to a stop, we don't exit the van from the cab. We actually come through here. And when it's time to get going again, we move from this area to the cab through this space. So that's one of the reasons I want to keep it at this level. And although this is not going to get easier as we age, this is easy enough now so that we can manage it. This is what that looks like. Easy, right? Right. And coming back through is equally embarrassing, but it works. Put one knee here, allows me to put the next knee here, kind of come through, And hey, look, a handle. Swing around and I'm out. Well, there are some flaws, but I can live with that. Here's a Lagoon table in action. So it does swivel around to multiple positions. So I think this location serves most purposes we would have for the table. So if a person is sitting here and another person is sitting here, we have other folks there. This one table does serve most of our needs. The person sitting here can use this side table. People here and here could use this one in different configurations depending on how you want to work it. Or it makes a really nice desk for one person if you want to sit here and work on your laptop, which is conveniently located right back here. Now this is Susan's laptop. I don't have a login to it, but looks pretty good, right? Thank you for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on Moose Fan. Who am I talking to? Who is it? Where are they at? Where are they at? They're over there. Here's my good boy. Yes. Here's your good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. Here's my good boy. Yes, you are. There's a good boy. You get up there. You get up there, good boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got you. Oh, yeah. I get you. Oh, yeah. There's my good boy. There's my good boy for you. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's my good boy. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Come on, man. Oh, yeah. There's my good girl. There's my good